The purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life you've always dreamed of. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse Ewing. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle, where you can access your full potential right now. Finally break free from destructive habits. That dream life, if you want it, you can have it. This is where you transform your health, mind, business, and relationships, or do nothing and keep your life the way it is. But if you're ready for change, you're in the right place. This is where you're gonna learn how to live a habit-based lifestyle. You are tuning in to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Jesse Ewing. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle. Let's go.
You have quite a resume. I was very impressed, and just kind of getting to hear about a little bit about your business and the products that it creates. But tell me a little bit about yourself, and just talk a little bit about yourself with our guests.
Well, I had a very untraditional upbringing. My family moved to America when I was 6 years old, and I grew up in a very poor, low-income family. I started working at the age of 9. So that's when I started making my own money.
Wow.
I was making $2 an hour babysitting someone's kid when I was 9. I knew that money was something that you worked for, because I didn't know anything else. My family did not have money. I was raised by a single mom. So I was working all throughout my younger years and through high school, and became very good at saving. It's probably one of my biggest skill sets, is like how to be good with finances. Like, fucking don't spend money you don't have. Like, what? It made me very hustle at the very young age.
Okay.
And then I didn't really know what I was going to do with my life. I never took my SATs. I never went to college. And I spontaneously decided at the age of 19 that I was going to join the Israeli Defense Forces in Israel, even though I hadn't been back there since I was 6 and I didn't speak the language at all, but that I was going to do this. And I did. And that's when I fell in love with fitness, because my position in the Army was a combat fitness instructor for artillery soldiers, which is basically a trainer for the soldiers, to get them to do push-ups and climb over rope and do their obstacle course training. That's really when I fell in love with fitness. And at the end of my Army service is when I started having really bad digestive issues, which is how I came to found my company today, which is how I found digestive health solutions through tea. And that's really the journey that I went through there.
So let's back up a little bit, because you went through this pretty quick. Like, you grew up in Israel till you were 6, and then you moved to the United States. Mm-hmm. And where did you live then?
Florida.
Okay. And so you graduated high school in Florida. Mm-hmm. And then decided, instead of going to college, hey, I'm going to move back to Israel and join the defense forces, or that your branch of military in Israel.
Mm-hmm. I graduated high school when I was 16, because I went to a private high school that I could I wasn't like uber smart. I was just like, tell me what credits I have to do so I can leave and I can go work 40 hours a week. But and I was working at the time at like a postcard company making $10 an hour. And I really had no potential to grow within that company. And I think that if it would have been a smaller company and they would have seen how, fiery and hustler I was, maybe they would have promoted me over time. But I was like, okay, I make $10 an hour. I was living out on my own. I had a car bill and gas and rent and all of these things going on. And I was 19. So I felt like I was 19 going on 40. So me going to the Army was an escape. It was like, I got to get out of this loop that I'm in right now. And I got to go do something with meaning in it for a second and have an experience.
Wow. So you go to Israel, and you hadn't been there. Had you been there between 6 and 19, or was that your first time there back?
I had been visiting, but I didn't speak the language at all. Like every maybe 5 years, my family would go and I would see my grandma and then I would come back. Like I didn't know the culture. I didn't know what the people were like there. It made me grow some super thick skin. Like when having to live in a different environment, we don't know how easy we have it in America when you end up going somewhere else.
Yeah, for sure. So you're there, and then you learn, hey, like I like this fitness stuff. I like, you probably like having, some type of kind of like routine, or like, hey, here's the structure. And it sounds like inside of that structure, you really like flourished.
Yeah. I mean, I really loved training the soldiers and building their workouts out like in the desert. It was really fun. And I always really loved like standing in front of people and telling them what to do. I know that sounds crazy, but like it was really empowering telling like 80 male soldiers to do push-ups as a woman. I thought that was amazing. It was so much fun. And I really understood how uplifting and how much happiness could be generated from fitness, which is why I ended up, even after the Army, becoming a certified personal trainer. I was a spin instructor. So the choice to join the Army really changed my life because it gave me this gateway to wellness.
Yeah. I mean, it really sounds like it gave you permission to lead, because if you're leading, men, and you're, the only woman, it's like, hey, I can lead anybody.
Yeah, it was definitely empowering.
Yeah, that's really cool. So I got 20 years as a personal trainer. I owned my own training facility. So yeah, I mean, that's super cool. I love hearing about you decide, hey, I'm going to be a fitness instructor. I'm going to do all these things. How did you actually end up getting into this Teami Blends, and like, how did you kind of figure that out with where you were with your digestive health?
So my digestive problems started when I was in Israel. It was toward the end of my service. And the food in the Army, it's not organic, it's not fresh, it's not farm to table. It's just like, how many fucking pieces of chicken can we make for 3,000 people at one time? So they're using crazy different types of oils and chemicals. And my body just at one point shut down. And I was going to the bathroom one time per week, which is disgusting.
Yeah.
And the whole point of the body is it's supposed to regulate and detoxify itself. And you're supposed to get rid of the things that you don't need and keep the things that you do need. But my body wasn't doing that. It just stopped working. So I became addicted to coffee. I was drinking like 5 cups of coffee every single day because I couldn't go to the bathroom without it. But at a certain point, the coffee stopped working too. Like that stopped working as well. And I looked like I was 5 months pregnant. I had this huge stomach, looked like a big inflamed bowling ball, and it was hard as a rock. Wow. And I was like 21 years old. So I'm like, what's going on? Oh my God. I was eating fibrous foods. I was drinking water. I was exercising. My diet was all right. I wasn't like the perfect, but it was okay.
Sure.
And nothing was fixing it. So I ended up getting a colonic, which is where they literally stick a tube up your butt and they flush out the backed up accumulated toxins. And it was like not a good experience. It's not like a day at the spa. You're just it's not a massage.
Yeah, I've had 7 or 8 of those. Right?
It's like, ooh, okay.
I actually think I kind of enjoyed mine.
I mean, totally. It wasn't the worst. What I can tell you is that it's not sustainable to go get a colonic once a week if you really have this problem, right? And it's expensive and it's going to take time. Like food should not be affecting me this way.
Right.
So what is the solution to this? So I got my colonic. I felt some relief. And then when I came back to America after my service ended, I started reading books about colon health and gut health. My gut health did improve because I started cooking for myself. And when you're cooking for yourself, you know exactly what's in your food.
Right.
So it was immediately better, but it wasn't completely gone. And these books that I had been reading about gut health really dove into the fact that these are junk food, chemically processed foods, GMOs, they build up in your gut and they can affect your mood. They can affect your mental clarity. They can affect your skin. They can affect bloating, so many different things. And I was reading this book and I was like, that's me. I must have massive amounts of toxins in my body. And they had mentioned in the books that one of the ways to get rid of these toxins or to help ease these toxins is herbal teas. I was like, that's great. So I went to Whole Foods, bought every tea that said colon cleanse, kidney cleanse, gut cleanse, everything that I could find. And I tried all of them and none of them worked for me. And that's when I was like, well, this natural remedy stuff is supposed to work for me. Why is it not working for me? And that's when I started researching tea, different quality teas, different sources of tea. What's the difference between, hand selected tea and machine selected tea? What's the difference between, drinking this tea bag with a bunch of powder in it to drinking loose leaf tea? And that's when the journey started.
Okay. So how long ago was this?
5.5 years ago. Okay.
So you're kind of in this place where you start researching teas. And I'm sure like this, it sounds like you're very driven. So whatever, like you're going after, you're like going to dive into it 100%.
And that's what I was doing at the time. I ordered a bunch of different ingredients online. I started like blending my own teas, and I was living at my mom's house at the time. And we're just blending teas, finding what works well, what tastes good. And I came up with a formula. And this formula, which is now our 30-day detox program, is made up of 2 teas. We have a tea that you drink in the morning to help raise your energy and boost metabolism, and a tea at night that helps remove the toxins from the gut. And it's a 30-day program. And it's really good for beginners too. Like I made this for regular Americans that are trying to improve their lifestyle, but just don't know what to do yet. It's not necessarily for vegans or people that are personal trainers. Everybody has different problems. So I just wanted it to be something that any beginner could do. And I gave it to my friends and they just loved it. I did not know how many people suffered from digestive health. I had no idea. Coming from the personal training aspect of it, it's always been the outside of the body. Like, okay, how do we train the muscles? How do we get the person to sweat more? How do we create this really awesome HIIT workout that the person can burn a lot of calories and raise their heart rate? So it came from a different background, and I didn't know how many people suffered from digestive issues because of the foods and medicines and things that we have out in our environment.
Yeah. I always kind of say for as many years as I've spent in the industry, there's 3 types of trainers. There's the all external trainer, there's the all internal trainer, and then there's the one in between who, is kind of like, hey, there's both. And there are 2 very important aspects of it. But I think, as an industry, it gets caught up in the external world that we, stop taking care of. Like, hey, the real sustainable results actually come from the changes we make internally.
I super agree with you, because the major changes I've seen in my body have been from healthy habits and not, when I PR'd my back squat. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And your back squat's great, but like, how healthy are you internally?
Exactly. And that's what I started addressing for myself. And when I saw that other people were suffering from digestive health, like I had a girlfriend that had cystic acne, and that's the inside of the gut that is inflamed, that is there. The body tells you when it's sick. It says, my bloated belly was telling me something's wrong. And my friend's cystic acne, or someone's mood swings, or someone that has been working out and trying to lose weight, but just can't lose weight. Like your body is telling you something is up. And so by getting rid of an accumulation of backed up toxins that your body doesn't need. It just opens up all the flows for your body to metabolize correctly, to digest your food correctly, and to be lighter in general.
Yeah. And I think the unfortunate part with that is we may go to the doctor and they may end up putting us on some type of prescription, and, we don't ever really fix the problem. We just, say, hey, the medication is going to take care of it. And so we don't really change the behavior or anything around it. Mm-hmm. And we could end up taking something for 10, 20 years, and we may not even know if it helps or not.
I know. And I think that it's a responsibility factor. I think that people are not being responsible for their own status of their health, because They go to the doctor and they say, doctor, tell me what's going to fix me. And they give them whatever prescription, like you said, and it's the doctor's fault, or it's the medication's fault. No. You need to be interested in fixing your body. So if this is important to you and you're saying the medication is making you feel a certain way, or something's not working for you, then you need to do something about it, because you are responsible for your health. And I think that a lot of people, even though they might think they know that they're responsible for their health, they're not really acting that way.
Yeah, I have a few clients. It's actually kind of crazy because I've been working with clients in the capacity that I've been doing it for about 4.5 years. And all of a sudden, I'd never worked with anybody that actually had GERD, but I end up having 2 clients in the same group that have GERD. And, it was like, I'm like, hey, do you even know if the medication's working? And we went through this whole process, and they're like, oh yeah, if I didn't do it, then, something may happen to me. And I said, well, are you sure? And they're like, well, yeah. And I said, well, when's the last time you haven't taken it? And they're like, well, I've always taken it. I said, okay, so what would happen if you didn't take it? And one of them had convinced themselves that they might die if they didn't take it. And so I said, like, hey, why don't you write down your fears of not taking it? And then, like, before you go to bed at night, just read it and then make a choice if you really need it or don't. And so they started implementing this, and all of a sudden they realized, like, hey, I don't really need to take this. I didn't even, and they started realizing that they didn't even need it unless they ate bad. And then that was the way that they actually masked eating. Mm-hmm. And so they really used it so they could eat bad and still feel fine the next day. But yeah,
can you believe that?
I mean, just to know, like, hey, like you said, our body tells us what's going on. It's just whether or not we're conscious to listen. And I really think most people are unconscious to what their body's actually saying. And so it's easier just to go get the quick fix from the doctor or somewhere else.
Yeah, I agree. And I think also that people are afraid to experiment. Like your client was afraid they had all these fears that whether they had put there or the media had put there or their doctor had put there, they don't have the confidence on their own to try something new. Like I'm actually doing this challenge on our Instagram account. We have a huge community. We have 1 million followers on our Instagram account. Wow. And we're doing a water challenge where I'm challenging, it's 5 days. I'm challenging, this has nothing to do with money or sales or business. I'm just really passionate about water because I just, even though I sell tea products, tea does not replace water. Coffee does not replace water. And so I'm challenging people to drink a gallon of water a day for 5 days. And there's like hundreds of people that are just like, or thousands. I don't even know how many. They're just like all posting because I walk around with this big jug, this 1 gallon jug. And just that, I'm forcing them to experiment with their body for 5 days and making it fun and making it a challenge. And I'm hopeful that they felt better. They felt like it helped suppress cravings and that they had more energy and that they didn't need another cup of tea or they didn't need another cup of coffee and that their skin cleared up. Like I'm hoping that by forcing them to do this fun 5-day challenge that they see the effects. But most people, they're not going to on their own be like, hey, let me experiment with my body. Let me try drinking a gallon of water for 5 days.
I think one of the cool things that, that you're saying is like, hey, what if the habit you normally did was drinking coffee? What if you changed that and just tried drinking water every time you wanted a cup of coffee? Mm-hmm. Like, how simple would that be to actually change that habit out? And I think sometimes we try to quit our habits completely cold turkey without actually adding in a new one.
Right.
And that's really where I believe people can be successful is, I quit a 26-year addiction of chewing smokeless tobacco cold turkey by doing push-ups every time I wanted a chew.
I'm sure you got real buff.
Yeah. And it took me like doing 400 to 500 push-ups a day to realize that I'm like, man, like every time I want to push up, like technically I'm lying about how I feel. And so rather than express it or let myself feel it, I would go to suppress it every time I wanted to chew. And so doing the push-ups made me realize that. Once I realized what I was actually doing, I quit very easily.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. So, I quit coffee back in February, basically doing the same thing, except I started drinking like a non-caffeinated tea. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, this isn't really any different. Like the coffee's no longer doing anything for me. Mm-hmm.
People, I think, are running on roboticness.
Yeah.
Like, it's people are robotically doing things, and it's not because of social media or that I was doing robotic things before social media was ever around. Right. I think that, you're right. If you switch it up with a different habit, you start seeing that it actually didn't matter in the first place. Right.
Do you do anything with your water or your water challenge, or is it just straight water?
It's just, people can add fruit into it, but it's just drinking a gallon of water per day, or at least trying to. Okay. And people see that they have way less cravings for snacking, and their skin is glowing, and they feel much more energy because they're actually hydrating their body enough.
That's awesome. So tell me about, Teami Blends. Like, how did you find that? So you started going through and looking at all these different tea blends and things like that, and testing these on your own. How did you actually come up with the actual tea?
I ended up, when I was sourcing ingredients, finding my now business partner who came from the tea industry. And I was like, hey man, I need help to source these ingredients. And he helped me. And in the beginning, like I said, I was just making it at home, but he was like, hey, let's make a business out of this. So it was actually he was like, hey, if you're so passionate about fixing this problem and you've seen that it helps others, is this something that you'd want to do a business? I was like, you know what? Why not? At first I was like, this seems weird. I'm 23 years old. I didn't go to college. I'm not necessarily an expert in tea at this point. I live with my mom, and I don't know anything about business. So I'm going to, in our minds, we were like, it's a very small investment of money because we could buy small amounts of ingredients, and it's more an investment of our time and our sweat equity. Yeah, so sure. My partner helped me with the sourcing, and he was also a graphic designer. So he helped make all of our packaging, and he made our website, and I did all the copywriting for our website, and then I did all the operation stuff. So all the marketing, all the customer service, all the shipping was all happening from my one tiny bedroom in my mom's house. Had a thermal printer and boxes of envelopes and all this material for shipping. And I started talking about my products on Instagram 5.5 years ago. And now fast forward to today, we have 60 employees. We have a 13,000 square foot facility here in Tampa, Florida. That's an office and warehouse space. And we've expanded our line to more lifestyle products and tea-based skincare products. And we, over the last 5.5 years, have really turned into a lifestyle brand that creates, wellness and skincare products inspired by the health benefits of tea.
That's awesome. So what other products do you have? So you have your 30-day tea you take morning and at night. Is there another tea you take, or is then you go to your lifestyle, your skincare products?
We have over 15 different kinds of tea. So we have energy teas and relaxation teas. We have fruit teas. We have matcha. We have all different kinds of teas for people that love tea. And then we have our superfood greens powder. We really just are making products that I'm passionate about, that I use in my life, to be honest. I'm really passionate about using green powders in my smoothies. I'm going to make one.
Oh, okay. So you made your own greens powder.
Right. Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. I love those much more than the green smoothies.
Yeah.
Calories.
Yeah, they are, for sure.
So how long have you had your company?
5.5 years. It will be 6 in October.
Okay. And you have 60 employees, which we all know, like if anybody owns a business, having 60 employees is like babysitting 60 adult kids at times.
Basically.
Yeah. So what is that like for you now? I mean, I guess I kind of look at it as like, hey, when you were 19, it was equipping you with training skills at that age to actually be able to do what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Obviously you're not teaching people how to do push-ups, but you're teaching people how to work together as a team, which is, I think you started that back, when you were 19.
It's the most challenging thing I've ever done. And I can tell you that things go in waves for me personally. We can have a few months where everything is just amazing. And then we'll have a couple months where things are blowing up, whether it's, having to let go of employees, or whether it's the numbers are down for that quarter, or whether it's, handling daily operational things that go wrong. I can't tell you that I'm like inspired all the time. And I'm totally focused 100% of the time. Things pull me in different directions, and I have to get my discipline and my focus in to get my job done. As a leader, it can be hard. Sometimes you're in the trenches and you're not able to do your leadership role of coming out with new products, innovating where the company is going to be in the next couple months or the next couple years. So I'm definitely going through the motions of training my executives to take on more of those responsibilities so that I can really step into the leadership role that I need to be in.
Right. And I call that as a business owner, like when you're in the trenches, it's kind of like being in survival. When you're in that mode, it's very hard to look ahead at creating anything new and like kind of forecasting, hey, here's the vision of my company and where I actually want it to go. And it's like, people don't realize that, like, when you're building a business and when you're growing a company, it's like you have to kind of be in that for a while to really understand it and understand the flow before you can actually step out of that and get out of the hustle and grind. What's funny is you started out as a hustle and grinder. That's what made you the business person you are today. But to be able to detach from that and then become the CEO and start looking at that differently, it's a hard shift to make. I remember making that. It took me about 10 years running, 2 of my own gyms to realize that, like, actually what it would take. And it was like letting go of like my babies and
for real,
just being able to like step back and be like, okay, now I have the systems and structure in place. And then just to watch people, start being able to operate and do that. That was one of the most uncomfortable like times of my life, but it was also, wow, why didn't I do this earlier? So
I'm right there right now, right there, what you're talking about. And I think that for anyone listening that is starting their own business or is just wants to know this, there is like the phase of the trenches and the phase of survival. And then there's the where you can detach, but those two phases, they switch on each other all the time. It's not like you detach and then you're like in this angelic phase. that might be a phase that you're in for 3 months. And then you might uncover that like there's this big black hole in your company that must be fixed, and you can go back into the trenches for 6 months or a year, and then you can detach again. So it's a moving fluid cycle, and it's not like you're either this or this. Like you could be in the trenches for a year, and then you could also be detached for a couple months. Like I've seen that flow happen for me multiple times.
Yeah. And I can remember quite a few times where, you go from like 20, I had like 25 trainers at one time to all of a sudden having like 16 in the course of like 90 days. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And then, like you said, I had to step back in and take on like 3 different trainers' clients. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, this is hell. I don't ever want to do this again.
And you're like, how did I get back here? I thought I was past this.
Yeah. So, one of the things that I found is, finding out like where am I best at in my business? And I was always best at creating the systems, but not necessarily managing the systems.
Right.
And, once I realized that, I could begin to kind of plug people in. And I always kind of compared it to football. It's like, create the position and then you'll find the player versus most people, they first think about finding the player and then they try to create the position. And then all of a sudden it's like they hire the wrong person. And that was one of the things that I had to learn as an entrepreneur was like, hey, you create the position, you create the system, and then you find the person that fits that position.
Yeah, it's great feedback.
So what's the big thing you're working on now? Or is this like, if you tell me, you might have to kill me or?
No, I'm a pretty open book. I mean, we're working on a ton of new products. We're always trying to find things that our customers will be excited about. Right now, our customers are really loving the skincare aspect of our business. So we're coming out with a toner that is blended with our butterfly tea. So we blend tea ingredients into all of our skincare products, and we're just focusing on more skincare products, coming out with new teas. So every month our customers see something new from us every single month. Okay.
Awesome. So,
and we're also working on a vegan protein powder, which is going to be exciting for our audience. Cause a lot of people, they ask me personally, what do you recommend? So I'm like, okay, let me just make you guys something that I really recommend.
Yeah. So, are you married? You're married.
Yep.
You said you've been married for 2 years, a little over 2 years.
Yeah. We'll be celebrating 2 years in July.
Okay. Awesome. And me and my wife will be celebrating 14 years in July.
Wow.
And, we just actually ran a marriage boot camp, where me and her put it on. It was like a 2-day experience, here in Dana Point, California.
That must have been incredible.
It was, it was crazy because after I got over, I couldn't talk for like 2 days, because I'm totally speechless from like what happened and just what had changed. But it was like the first event we'd ever put on together, and it was amazing. Yeah. It was,
wow. That's incredible. Marriage to me has been such an interesting experience because I'm so independent.
Yeah.
I'm so independent, and he is too. And usually with couples, they're very like codependent on each other. Like, let me ask my wife, let me ask my husband. And like everything is together. But my husband and I have been doing long distance for 4.5 years. So I do the most of my time in Florida. I would say 70% of my time is in Florida, but he lives in Portland, Oregon. And that's where we're going to raise our kids. But until I get my executives like on track here in Florida, I don't really feel like I can consciously leave the business and run it from Oregon. I'm very hands-on.
Okay.
And so with my husband, there can be sometimes like 2-3 days where we're just texting each other. We like haven't even spoken on the phone. And it's incredible to allow someone else to be themselves in a marriage and not make them who you want them to be, necessarily.
Yeah.
So that has been such a growing experience for me, which has really opened my eyes to not trying to fit people to who you want or need them to be, but really just allowing them to be themselves and respecting them for who they are.
Yeah, for sure. I used to live in Gig Harbor, Washington. So it's like 2 hours from Portland, Oregon. So I know
that's awesome.
Very, very well. So you have a long distance marriage. That's got to be tough on your marriage at times. Is he in the same business as you, or is he in something different?
He actually does real estate.
Okay.
So he's not, he invests in real estate properties and manages them.
Oh, wow.
Probably the better way to say it.
Okay. Awesome. And then do you still do any type of training for yourself, personal training, personal care?
I work out like 6-7 days a week personally.
Okay.
And now I can afford to have my own trainers, which is really cool. So I hire trainers to train me and make sure that my butt gets whooped and that I train hard. But I don't think I could live my life without fitness.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do it. It's my 1 hour a day to not be on my phone, to not answer questions, to just focus on myself.
So obviously, like, my show is called Habit-Based Lifestyle. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions. One is, do you have a morning routine?
Yes.
Okay.
I wake up every morning at 6:30 in the morning. I work out between 7 to 8. And then I shower. I make my superfood smoothie and my tea. And I'm out the door and at work by 9.
Okay. Awesome. And what is the one habit a listener could start doing to really impact their health?
Honestly, I know this is going to sound cliche, but it's to drink a gallon of water a day and to buy yourself a BPA-free gallon or half-gallon jug from Amazon. They cost a couple dollars, and make it a habit to drink water. I think that people drink because they think they drink energy drinks or soda or coffee or tea because it's pleasurable to whatever degree. It tastes good. It gives them energy. And people don't like drinking water because it usually immediately doesn't do either. It doesn't necessarily taste good, and it doesn't have any specific effect immediately. Right.
Right.
So if they can start drinking a gallon of water a day habitually, and because they know it's good for them, long term, they're going to see huge results. Like, I've been doing this now for about 4 or 5 months, and my life has completely changed since I've put in this habit. I wasn't always aware of this. One day I was like, man, I'm dehydrated all the time and I feel tired. So I'm going to start drinking water. And I did this experiment with myself, and it's a huge changes. So that's what I would say.
Okay. Awesome. So if any of my listeners were wanting to either get in contact with you or your company, where would they go?
They can follow us on Instagram. That's where a lot of our peoples are, which is at Teami Blends. And they can always follow me too if they want to see like the behind the scenes, real business entrepreneurship life, which is at Adi Arezzini.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. So I was going to kind of end this with some stuff on business because, a lot of my listeners are people trying to grow businesses, even grow their social presence on like social media and stuff like that. So I thought it'd be kind of cool if you, if you feel comfortable giving some tips on how to grow your presence on social media. You have 1 million followers, which is huge. On Instagram, but just how you actually have done that.
Well, I started 5.5 years ago. So this 1 million followership isn't something that happens overnight. First thing is to check your expectations. I have been posting on Instagram 4 times a day on my business account for the last 5.5 years. So that's the amount of times that I'm talking to my community. And some people might think that that's smart, and some people might think that that's dumb, but that's what has worked for me. You need to promote yourself. If you have a business that you want to do and you've already decided this is what I'm going to do, I have this product, I have this service. Once you have whatever commodity it is, you need to start telling people about it consistently. You can't tell people about it on Monday and then forget to tell people about it on Tuesday. Whatever it is that you're selling or that you're doing, it needs to be consistently spoken about all the time.
So when you say post, are you doing like pictures, you doing videos, you doing everything?
Everything, combination of all of that. But in the beginning, it was me taking pictures on my iPhone and making really ugly collages like 5 years ago. Like if you see some of my original Instagram posts, it's ugly. But that's the point, is that it doesn't fucking matter. Like just do it anyway and you will get better. Our Instagram today looks different than it looks last year, looks different than it looks 2 years ago. Every year it's like we level up in our content, but we're still figuring it out. We're still trying to make it better all the time. So my first tip on building a presence is to at least post one time per day and be consistent with it. That's the first thing. The second thing is to spend a few hours on your targeting on Instagram. So hashtags on Instagram are better used if you're not targeting nouns. So like I would never use hashtag like tea because I'm not trying to show up for that. You need to look for audiences. So if I'm looking for people that have IBS, I'm going to use the hashtag IBS warriors, or I'm going to find that type of person or that type of audience that needs my product. Who would be the people that would need my product? Maybe it's moms. Maybe it's new moms. And then I can use the hashtag new moms. But you have to use hashtags properly. And I see a lot of people using hashtags as nouns, and you should use hashtags as, like modifiers of audiences. So
like a type of person, not necessarily a thing.
Right. Like if I was selling workout clothes for women, maybe I would be hashtagging girls that lift. I wouldn't be hashtagging workout clothes. But a lot of people do that. And that is not the right way to do it on Instagram.
All right. So you can play around with me a little bit. So what would you be hashtagging for marriage boot camp?
So marriage, I would do like relationship goals, couples that live together. I would have to go on Instagram but you can go into like a weave of it, right? Yeah, so marriage tips, marriage lessons. I don't know if these are actual hashtags. I would have to go and find out, but it would be about like, marriage counseling, marriage therapy. I would use those, even though they are talking about the actual thing, they are related to what it is. And I would do maybe like, successful marriages, relationship goals. I would do things around soulmates, a lot of things about how, the word soulmate. I would use that a lot. And when you're in the tag area of Instagram, it shows you suggested or related tags, and ones that you had never thought of. But you find a few and then you start adding them and you add them together. That's what I would do.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
a lot of couple goals stuff, like marriage boot camp. Anyone who needs to go to a marriage boot camp, one of the partners wants to better their relationship. If, let's say, the woman wants her husband to be more attentive or romantic or whatever, then she's probably following a lot of like couple goals, quotes, and relationship accounts because she's following what she wishes she had or what she looks up to having.
Right. Of course. Yeah. So it's amazing to go through interviews for those and be like, hey, have you talked to your husband or wife about this? And they're like, no. It's like, well,
crazy. That
might be the first person you need to talk to and convince before we even have a conversation.
Mm-hmm. So. Are you going to do the marriage boot camp over and over again?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I already have.
But this was your first time doing it, or?
First time doing this, I coached men inside of a group called Wake Up Warrior. We would do these programs called Warrior Week. They were like week-long experiential training. So I did that for about 3.5, 4 years. And then I mean, I really started to see, guys would be lit on fire and they'd go home to their wives. And it was like, they wanted to create all this massive change in their house. And their wife's like, dude, who the hell is this? Like, all of a sudden you start showing up. You haven't shown up in years. All of a sudden you come home and like you've changed the world, and all of a sudden you want to show up. And it's like the issue was always integrating it into the home. And so I'm like, the real way to integrate it in your home is to actually bring that together and work through all these issues, these years of pain, and to expose all of that stuff. So it's kind of like both people are there naked. I mean, in a sense, you know what I mean? Like they've told each other everything, everything's kind of out, and then they can begin to work on from that place. But until they've done that, it's very hard to work past that. And so there's always like this, we have people that, say they may have held on to something that their spouse did 17 years ago. And it's like, I mean, you've really just been living in the past for 17 years in your marriage. And how do you expect to have a new future if you can't let go of that? And sometimes just saying I let go of it isn't enough. They have to like actually physically like let go of it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what this is about. It's just about creating a new future and taking your marriage to the next level. But in order to do that, there's certain things that have to happen.
I mean, I would video all of that on Instagram stories behind the scenes. I would get your audience to get connected with the participants of the marriage boot camp. I know that not all of them will want to be on camera, but I think that would be so inspirational for so many people that they could relate to a couple that has one specific issue. They can relate to that at home. It's almost like reality TV, in the sense
I had camera guy videoing the whole time. So it's
amazing.
We're walking down to the beach and we all have these shirts that say marriage boot camp, and there's cameras on us, and people are like, oh my God, it's a reality TV show.
I love it. I think it's genius.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool. So, how do people, I know we said how they get in contact with you, but like what product, obviously you have tons of products. Maybe is there a new product that you would recommend for the audience to try, or maybe that you want to promote specifically to my audience?
I think that everyone should do our first product, which is the 30-day detox program, or our detox starter pack, because I believe that health and wellness begin in the gut. And so if you're getting rid of toxins in your gut, you're opening the gateways for all the rest of your wellness to really be more effective. So I would really recommend doing our 30-day detox program. And everyone can do it. Men, women, you don't have to be a genius. You don't need to work out. You just need to drink tea. That's it. And you will in the morning and at night. And you need to see how you feel. You need to experiment with your body and see how you feel at the end of the 30 days.
So when you do this, do you cut out coffee or cut out anything, or you just do the tea?
You don't have to. It is recommended because usually when you're drinking the tea in the morning, you're getting so much energy. No one needs coffee in the afternoon. So a lot of people end up cutting it out naturally. But I tell people if they're like avid coffee drinkers to drink their morning tea, and then in the middle of the day, if they want coffee, they can have coffee.
So that's where everybody starts. Okay, is with this morning and afternoon TV, and then tea, and then do they go to anything else, or do they continue doing this after that, or?
So everyone's different. Some people do cleanses and detoxes once every year. Some people do it every 3 months. Some people do it when they get back from vacation. So it really depends on the person, but usually what we see happen with our customers is they love the detox so much that they start ordering our other teas because they had such a great experience. Because we do provide a really fun customer experience on our social media. We give each customer, each person that comments, we comment back to every single person on our social media.
Oh, wow.
So we have a very high importance on our customer service.
That's amazing.
people full time doing just that.
So so first year in business, what did you got? Do you share that stuff? Like what you've done or what you've built your business to?
Yeah, we do. In general, we're past the 10 million mark annually.
Oh, wow.
So that's what we can share.
In your first year, you did what? Like
in our first year, we did 400,000.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, congratulations. Like
Thank you.
So, and to know your story and know where you came from is amazing. So congratulations on all your success.
Thank you so much.
One, I want to thank Adi for being on here. And if you guys want to get in contact with her, feel free. Check out her website, which I'll put in the show notes. If you guys, and I just want to say thank you for being on here and sharing your story. If you are looking to connect further with a group of like-minded people, join myself and so many others in the Habit-Based Lifestyle Secrets group on Facebook, where I'll be dropping daily habits to help you live to your full potential. If you want to be one of our next case studies and begin living this habit-based lifestyle, maybe you have questions, comments, or requests, feel free to reach out to me, jesse@habitbasedlifestyle.com. Until next episode, have a great week.
The purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life you've always dreamed of. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse